everybody, Colin here, and welcome to the first of the practical application style videos. I don't know what I'm going to call these yet. It's a mystery to me too. But if you watched the last video talking about paper and pencils and erasers and stuff like that, this is the kind of the video where I show you how it all comes together. As you can see, I got my pencils out, my erasers. This I didn't talk about. This is a lead holder. So I got this whole big bottle of little nubbin guys. Let's take a small one here. This is a 2B that's just, it's so tiny. I can't draw effectively with it. And this thing is an extender to make it viable again. Great purchase. Highly recommend it. And I'll be using this when we first start drawing here, just so you guys can see. I have my Skull Dana set up, and I took a picture of her exactly the way I'm seeing it. From my vantage point, that's what I'm seeing. So we're going to do a little bit of life drawing today and show you how all that stuff goes down. We're going to start out here. When I do a life drawing or anything like that, let me get this sharpened up. Let me make sure we can see it. Yeah, that's good. When I do a life drawing or anything like that, the first step for me is to kind of take a look and almost visualize whatever I'm seeing in 3D, almost like two-dimensional, and kind of make an outline of it. I'll show you what I mean. I'll put the picture here in the corner so you can see, and I'll start drawing. Let's do right around here. So from my vantage point, and this may be, I'm hoping I got it as correctly of an angle in the picture as I'm seeing here. I tried to do my best. And just kind of start drawing the shapes almost as if it's a cartoon, like it's a silhouette, if that makes any sense. And I don't worry about those interior details quite yet. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. But as you can see, I'm just going kind of loosey-goosey here with the pencil. Whoop. There we go. Just kind of doing those sorts of just to get a nice shape. And then from there I can start filling in the various details and stuff like that. The jawbone coming up. And this is the kind of stuff that I need to get better at, drawing more realistically. So I thought life drawing would be a good help. I kind of set Dana up here as if like she's kind of on her side, almost as if like the type of skull you'd find like on a battlefield or something like that, you know. Our hero's walking and sees a skull on a side. Or you could see like a Terminator boot coming down on this. And from here I'm just doing simple line drawings. And I'll show you in a bit how we get into more of like the nuanced shadow drawings and stuff like that. So let's get that nose in. You know, and just refine. And this is just a quickie. What was that, 3 minutes or something like that, and you have the very basis of a skull, and you could start adding in the various lines and whatever you want. But that's like the quick and dirty way, I guess you'd say how to do it. And so that's a good use of, like, you know, your pencils and your paper, just kind of sketching this stuff out and getting a good feel for it. From here, I mean, this is a pretty simple sketch, as you can see, but from here we can start to look at the depth of shadow within there and just start kind of throwing it in where we need to, where the darkest parts are, of course. Definitely something you guys should try at home. Heck, even if you get this little picture of Dana and try to give it a draw. But I recommend doing it from 3D as often as possible, from real life. That way you can kind of get the feel for adding in the, what's the word I'm going to say? Adding in the, you know, picking out the 3D aspects and turning them almost 2D. Like, I think that's an important way to go. So that's a good first start. That's a quick and easy, boom, 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 skull there. Let's move on to something a little more advanced. The tone tan paper. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to show you how this stuff works and is great for life drawing with your pencils and whatnot. So here's a blank sheet, and I'm going to get the outline drawn as before, so I'm just going to speed the video up now and get this in. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, that's a pretty good start. We got a very rough in, and what we're going to do is use this background color, this kind of tan, as a mid-tone. So from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out my 2B that I'm using for this outside sketch. I'm going to go just a little bit darker with a nice 5B here, and I'm going to start adding in the areas that are the most shadowy that I can see. So that's things like kind of there's a bit on the bridge of the nose here, up into the face area, and just the darkest parts that I can see. The eyes, of course. All right, so I'm going to get working on this, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, now that some of the darkest tones are in, we're going to take one of our tortillions that I talked about. These are the nice paper stumps, and we're just going to start smoothing things out just a bit. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to take another tortillion. This one's a little bit smaller, yeah. And I'm not even going to put any lead on this. I'm just going to use what's already kind of there. And that's going to give me a very lighter kind of shade here. And I'm going to do a lot of the areas that are kind of the light shadow in that here. Now that that's in, I'm actually going to go with an even darker shade here. We're going to go with the big old 7B, and I'm going to hit some of these darkest areas one more time just to really pop them out. And just like I said in the previous video with this 7B, the higher the number goes towards B, the softer the lead is, and I'm barely putting any pressure here, and it's coming off nice and dark, and that's what I want. Just really darken these areas up. Part of my problem right now is with these spotlights, pencil drawings tend to get a lot of glare bouncing off, so it's a little hard for me to see what I'm doing here, but we'll get there. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to switch over to a white, And for this, I am actually going to use my good old paint pen. If you watch some of the other Markers and Monsters videos, I use this guy a lot. You can use anything here, colored pencils, but I find some of the colored pencils don't have a strong enough white effect. Now, we'll kind of mix media this, but this is nice, just throwing it down on camera so you guys can see what I'm getting at when I say with the tone. Oh, and my brush came out of there. Great. Good. That's what I need. Oh, excellent. Okay. Give it a shake. And then if you guys are following along at home, we're looking for the areas of the strongest white. Let me make sure it's flowing good. And I'm just kind of laying it down loosey-goosey, very sketchy in there. And there we go. From here, I think that's a pretty good start. If we want to, we can start doing a little more blending and just getting some of those areas in. But I think this is a great start for some realistic life drawing. What's great about this kind of stuff is that it kind of lets me start to see, oh, if light's hitting in a certain area, like, oh yeah, you know, go around here, the zygomatic process and whatnot, and you know, just trying to get that more realistic down. Now, we could spend a lot more time on this and make this look a lot more like photo real. But I think this is a great start today, and I wanted to show you guys just what these tools can do in action. So the tortillions, of course, really good for this nice kind of like smoothing and blending and just kind of pushing some lead around how we want. The different types of pencils that do the very lights and the very darks. The toned paper, you know, even the erasers we can use to good effect here and there. If we want to highlight a spot, let's say right here on the bridge of the nose, we can just give a little zoop and get that out of there, which is good. So, you know, I think that's a great focus practice for our first time. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Hope this was fun for you guys. Big thanks to my skull, Dana. She's the best. I got stuff on my thumb. Good deal. We'll see you guys on the next one. Ta-ta.